Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that, and thank you all for sticking around to hear our presentation. But we appreciate the opportunity and to share our insights about how we have been helping Fogo to transform the brand from what it was to what is becoming today. And we're doing that through guest experiences. So I want to start off with, first of all, of course, you just found out, I'm Joe Abbruzese, Chief Development Officer for Fogo.
Keith Anderson, I'm the CEO of Harrison.
I think it'd be great to start off with an introduction from our CEO, Barry McGowan. So if you'll indulge me.
Fogo de Chão is a 45-year-old experiential, highly profitable, fast-growing international brand. We provide our guests with an elevated dining experience of discovery, all within a fast, efficient operating model, resulting in industry-leading returns that fuel organic growth with proven portability. We're on track to surpass 100 locations by the end of the year. In addition to our growth plans, 10,000 Fogo family team members, our first $1 billion in system-wide revenue, our 50-year anniversary, and to become a $3 billion plus enterprise within the next 5 years. 2024 will be our 10th year of positive traffic growth, expanding our brand presence through increased awareness, trial, and frequency by giving our guests new discoveries and new ways to Fogo. Together, we look forward to what's next at Fogo de Chão. Obrigado.
So we're on this journey from what most folks perceive and know as an all-you-can-eat dinner experience, mainly focused on large group dining, special occasions, etc. The artwork and decor that was inspired in some of the older units is the dusty old gauchos from southern Brazil with the plains. You can see the sea of white tables. So the reality is this is what most folks still perceive Fogo to be. We're moving to something like you see on the screen here. I'm going to share a case study at the end of this to kind of go through and describe this location, but this is a rooftop bar in Seattle, Washington. Totally different experience, warm, timeless design, whole new occasion for our guests. Proven portability is important, and flexibility, right? So when we talk about flexibility, the beauty of the Fogo model is we don't have a prototypical building that we have to build, right? We have the flexibility to design something different at every single location. Of course, it makes it a little bit more difficult, but it's a lot more fun as well. And what we're doing is we're creating experiences for our guests, and that's we have the freedom and the flexibility to do. The portability, is interesting because we started in southern Brazil, right, with one unit in Porto Alegre, founded by 4 brothers. Its churrasco in Brazil is quite common. They moved to Sao Paulo, they started building a few units in Sao Paulo and Rio, and then moved to the United States. Now, the image on your screen is an iconic image. It's in Rio, it's in Botafogo Bay. You can see the Sugarloaf Mountain in the background, just kind of some really iconic locations that these gentlemen created. When they came to the US, they were smart enough to build restaurants across the country. So the portability, they proved that we could be successful in Miami, in New York, in Portland, Oregon, and Beverly Hills, California. So that makes the job a little bit easier from a real estate perspective, and then gives us the freedom to go anywhere we want. Some of the site types, which are interesting, so we've really started, the company started with central business districts near large hotels, convention centers, that type of thing. Where now we have the ability and the flexibility to go into more suburban markets. We're still doing urban locations. The one on the left side of the screen there is in the World Trade Center in Manhattan. And then you got Wayne, New Jersey, the suburban, and we're doing some urban metro locations as well. And of course, you can see each one looks totally different. We have different types of buildings that we can build. So I do have a prototypical box up in the upper left-hand corner, freestanding unit that we can build. And then we lean heavily into conversions like many of the folks in the room. So this is Joe's Crab Shack in Queens, New York, that Keith will tell you a little bit about. And then lastly, of course, we're also remodeling and reimaging the legacy units. The one on the lower left is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So the reality is we're evolving the brand by delivering experiences, right? So what we do is simply support. So the hard work is done by the operations group, right? So they're innovating the menu, they're developing new procedures and hospitality and delivering that experience every day. What we do is simply support that. What's interesting is, again, the perception of our guest space, right? So most folks would think we skew male, we skew a mostly large group, large parties, special occasions, and higher income, right? When in reality, if you look at our guest space, we're quite balanced between male and female. Our age demographic is more than 50% millennial and Gen Z, and our household incomes are, under $100,000. The other interesting fact is our alcohol mix is 14% of our revenue, right? Which is a huge opportunity for us. And our lunch brunch day part is only 20% of our menu mix, which again leans into the perception that we are, dinner day part, all you can eat type concept. So that gives us a huge runway to create experiences and other occasions for our guests. And again, that's what Keith and I are working hard on. I'll take a couple of minutes just to walk through some of the brand attributes and kind of extensions that we're creating. So again, Southern Brazil, culinary art of churrasco. That is what we're leaning into. The folks that are serving you at the table, slicing the meat, most people don't realize they are actually the chef. They butcher the meat in the back, they season, they cook the meat, and then they bring it out to your table. So these aren't, just servers. These are skilled chefs that are delivering to your table. So we want to lean into that fact. We want to showcase. We brought the grills out front. So now you can see these folks cooking. The next slide is, we call this our layered market table. So instead of a freestanding island market table, we brought that in front of the grill. So a couple of reasons. First off, the market table, not a salad bar, right? I think folks will refer to it as a salad bar, but it's a nod to Southern Brazil. What they would do is families would get together on a weekend. They would all bring their whatever they were harvesting at the time in a big, beautiful bowl, put it on a big table, and then the families would eat. The gauchos would cook the meat on the open flame, and then it would be a big celebration. So the market table is a nod to that. We wanted to bring that out in front of the grills so that as you're getting your food at the market table, you'll get the sense of, hey, this person that's serving me is actually cooking my meat. The next thing that we created is, we call it the Butchery. So we butcher in every single restaurant, right? So every single restaurant, we butcher our own meat. This one was in Coral Gables, Florida. We brought it out front. So we put it actually about a 450 square foot space. On the side of the dining room is a separate entrance from the exterior. You can go in, you can purchase meat to grill at home, a bottle of wine, and another occasion and experience to use Fogo. We also feel like long term we could do something, let's say in Manhattan, you can have just a butchery in a small space, in Manhattan, and then you can just use that as a to-go type place. I mentioned the Bar Fogo. So Bar Fogo, we refer to as just another occasion for folks to dine, right? So you don't have to come in for the full experience. I think back in 2015, the innovation started with the menu. So they created a whole bar menu. We have an incredible $9 picanha burger. We grind the picanha every day. We create our own hamburger, and we make a beautiful burger with polenta fries. You can come and sit at the bar, have a Brazilian-inspired cocktail, and a nice burger. So what Keith and I do is we're creating a space that will allow the guests to enjoy that and come in, sit in a comfortable environment, and have another occasion to come to Fogo. This is the cool one, Next Level Lounge. So we did a remodel, I think the first time Keith and I worked together was in Jardins, which is in Sao Paulo. We had a space, we were remodeling the restaurant, we had a space that was probably about 4 or 5 steps up, kind of a little mezzanine type thing. We said, what could we do with that? Well, we created a cigar lounge, a place where you could go and you could have a high-end cocktail, scotch, whatever, after dinner drink, and a cigar, a glass of cava, and it was a really cool space. So we said, okay, well, let's brand that. So we branded it as Next Level Lounge, and we've done a few in the US as well, one in Coral Gables, Florida, actually. This one on the screen in the upper right is in Paramus, New Jersey, and we actually won an award for that in Restaurant Design, a category award. And then one on the lower left is in Reston, Virginia. So again, another cool extension and occasion, reason to come to Fogo. Finally, patio dining. So there was a perception that, you know, we couldn't serve food on the patio, right? So real benefit came out of COVID. We learned very quickly you could set up a whole dining room on a parking lot and people would come and we could serve food. And so we started to lean into patios and started creating some beautiful patio spaces. This one on the screen here is from that same restaurant in Paramus, New Jersey, actually indoors in the mall. Just an extension of our dining room, adds capacity with no rent. So just kind of a cool way to extend Fogo. And now I'm going to let Keith kind of talk about the design and the customer journey and kind of how he brings the whole design thing together.
Thank you, Joe. As global design lead for Fogo, it's been a journey of the last 6 years working closely with Joe, Barry and the team. It's really been a privilege to get under the skin of the brand, and we've learned an awful lot. We remember 10% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, and 90% of what we experience. And to us, that is Fogo de Chão. We're there to create an experience, and we do that religiously across every single project. So how do we do it? As a design team, we really filter all decisions through the design pillars of which is approachable, warm, and timeless. So in considering the materiality, making sure that's warm and inviting to make sure it's approachable. Look at every single fixture, every architectural element, and every seating style. Tile selections, make sure they can stand the test of time. Very, very important. And then the last image of the gaucha is really important to the brand, and it signifies the way forward. Joe mentioned on the opening slide, it was almost like the gaucho of the past, in the fields, very masculine. Well, this feminine interpretation of our vision for the brand is portrayed in this picture, and it's something that guides our decisions as we move forward. So, an authentic brand story. This is a brand with so much of a story to tell. It's got it rooted in authenticity, and it's much loved throughout the world. So as the purveyors of that story, we have the job to be able to communicate that in a way in which is relevant. So when we're thinking back to the origins, we obviously challenging ourselves to be able to capture that essence, but do it in a way which meets the demographics and the millennial customer set. The right-hand side picture indicates a poem, and we did that for Coral Gables, which was their flagship for the store. And that is really about the boundless lands, the farmer out after a hard day's work, coming home to share that experience with friends and family. Understanding the depth within the brand, and the right-hand side, lower left picture, is the knife. And the gaucho, the authentic and master butcher, the fact that a knife can be passed through the generations. So it's really important, and it's a story that we, the brand, can lean into to be able to celebrate as part of the guest experience. In delivering the guest experience, it's really important to be able to deliver across occasionality. Joe mentioned at the very beginning about the statistics of the frequency of use. Well, we need to be able to leverage the brand platforms that have been created through the innovation of the brand's journey, and then be able to pick out signature moments when we're planning out the design. And to us, that's customer journey planning. So I'll go into some specific projects in a minute, but customer journey planning can create that experience, but it also lets us leverage the brand. So when we go into different markets and there's real estate opportunities, we can lean one way or another to be able to capitalize on what the guest wants. This is the designs that they've been developing, and we work really hard in a weekly design approval meeting because we've gone through so many different designs as part of the evolution. So what's important? It's about that guest journey, and it's about that anticipation of building. It's about approaching the building and feeling the warmth of the wood. The portal entrance that is actually taking you into that internal design experience. It's the patination and the warm glow of the signature material that's at the entrance. It's being able to create patio experiences that allows the brand to flex inside, outside, and then being able to deliver that experience with the same level of detail as you would expect on the interior. This is a project that's currently in for permitting in Nashville, in Tennessee, and this is Bar Fogo, and this was the Menu Master Award that Fogo won for their innovation, culinary innovation. Well, our job as part of that is to create that environment for them experience to be shared. It's to allow people to be able to use for a different day part, or it's been drive a different occasion, to linger at that conversational space. So the introduction of comfortable seating is really important in that case. And then the restaurant. Everything with Fogo is all about the gaucho, it's about the churrasco grill, and how we set out the dining rooms is really to inform and add that layer of experience, to tell the story of the flame grill. And so we plan out the different zones to allow that guest to experience that. We also spend as much time in the private dining spaces to make sure that they really, truly are not a second space. They are something that can flex seamlessly between a private dining room into part of the restaurant experience. I mentioned about the churrasco grill and the flame grill. This for me, if World Trade Center became a real estate opportunity, and I think it's amazing how the brand has capitalized on this. But Joe mentioned that the typical Fogo restaurant is 8,000 square feet. But the brand is brave enough to go and take a 5,000 split level space in the World Trade Center in New York, lean into the key brand attributes and create experiences out onto the patio to allow that to balance. And they're doing it really well. So the design language for the whole of this concept was about that step down approach from entering, the view of the bar, looking down into the restaurant, and then the step down into the flames. We create destinations, we create experiences, we create the rooftop next level lounge, which Joe will go into in a case study shortly. And Joe explained about the brand extension that we created, the Butchery. Effectively, Fogo's been the master butchers for all of its existence. We bring the gaucho to the heart of the experience, where they prepare the meat and then allow for in-house or off-premise opportunities, pairing with South American wine. The experience of Fogo doesn't stop within the space, and it's how we translate that and keep delivering upon that through the off-premise experience, the cocktail experience, being able to take on the patination of the gaucho and subliminally transfer that to the packaging is things we work hard to do. I think it's amazing what Fogo has achieved in terms of being that aspirational brand and take on and capitalize on real estate opportunities. Here's a short video of some of the transformations that the Fogo brand team and Harrison have worked on together. So to give you a little bit of a deep dive into this was Reston, Virginia. This was the Big Bowl concept. The Gaucho story, the Fogo brand experience goes through every touch point. We took the patination from the knife and we overlaid that onto the illuminated panels at the entrance. The warmth from the interior radiates to the exterior. We went through the Garden State Plaza transformation. Keep it simple. That's what we've learned. This is 3 different materials. This is extending some parapets up. It's being able to use timeless materials, warm and inviting materials to create a long-lasting and timeless design. And that philosophy radiates through to the interior experience. It's several projects that are currently in for permit at the moment. We're not afraid to be able to, as a experiential restaurant brand, to have open ceilings, to have concrete columns. It's about putting in that warmth and overlaying that as the brand evolves. This opened yesterday in Brooklyn in New York, and we use the brand attributes to guide guests, to encourage guests, and this is really positioned from the outside to encourage guests to enter the space. Market entry into Canada, again, the same evolution is still happening as we continue to progress the brand forward. We're just going to wrap up with a very quick case study which basically culminates in this journey.
I mentioned Seattle, Washington. You know, our traditional unit, the legacy units, were probably 10 to 13,000 square feet. This one, it was a really odd shape, kind of U-shaped space around the core of the building. We've at first walked away from it, but then came back to it because there was 6,000 square feet that was on one side of the core that we figured, okay, we could build a restaurant in there. In addition to that, we realized there was an opportunity that the landlord wanted to do a amenity deck on the roof of his building for his office tenants, 10-story office building. So we asked, could we, build a restaurant, small bar up there and create a space and operate it? And he said, sure. So we ended up creating a rooftop bar. This, a couple of images of the interior design. Bar Fogo in the corner, 2-story space, beautiful, and then really a long, narrow restaurant space looking right back to the heart of the restaurant, which is the churrasco grills. And then here's the rooftop. So really cool kind of restoration hardware type structure, outdoor dining space. Again, 10 stories up, direct access from the restaurant and from the street. So, again, big, hairy, audacious goal, maybe not, but it's something that's new for us, and we're going to give it a shot and see how it works out. So that's the evolution of Fogo. We're happy that you're able to attend and, appreciate the time. Thank you very much.